Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Well, hello, Fierce Factor listeners. Welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Kaylee Lindholm, the CEO of KLC Consulting and the founder of the Pop Aesthetic Leadership Academy, where we help aesthetic practice owners and leaders build deeply satisfying, lucrative, freedom-based businesses that stand the test of time. And I am on a mission to help 100 intentional and inspiring women in aesthetics and wellness cross the next $1 million milestone in their business this year. Listen, y'all, a very important part of the work we do over here is help our clients ask the right questions. You may have heard me talk in a past podcast about the 5 whys. When faced with the decision, really reverse engineering that answer through a series of questions to really help you guide your intuition, really, and help us to stay in integrity with our goals. And so we do this by first asking ourselves why and writing down the answer 5 times after we ask a question. And if you can't get 5 whys out of your initial question, you probably haven't asked an appropriate one. Okay, so let me give you an example. Should I take a salad to the party this weekend? Why? Because I want to bring something other people will enjoy. Why? Because I don't want to waste my time cooking something that won't get eaten. Why? Because my time is valuable and I'm stressed about everything on my to-do list. Why? Because I'm not prioritizing things in my life properly. Why? Because I don't know how to say no. So now, taking this example, since I don't know how to say no and I'm overwhelmed, should I bring a salad to the party this weekend? No, hell no. The answer should be, I don't have the time or the bandwidth to make a salad. And quite frankly, I'll feel resentful if I do. So instead, I'll just offer to contribute money or order a salad to be delivered. Then I'll call Kaylee to discuss how I can better prioritize all of the activities on my plate. So you see, that's a silly example. But the truth is, I routinely hear clients tell me that they should have thought something through better, or if they only knew then what they know now, maybe they would have made a better choice. And a few weeks ago, a client of ours asked if she should invest in a specific aesthetic device. And so we started to go through this 5 why exercise together and really uncovered a lot of reasons that the timing might just not be right for her. And we chatted through some things we could work on over the next 6 weeks to really tee up her business and her patients for a home run launch with this new device. That conversation itself inspired me to share some content from a blog I wrote a few years back, 5 questions to ask before investing in an aesthetic device. So if you are listening or tuning into this episode, if this title really caught your attention, you may be poised for some invigorating growth by adding a new offering to your practice. But before you bust out the champagne glasses, I'm going to tell you right now, proceed with caution. Without the right preparation before adding a new revenue stream, you might be equally as likely to empty your wallet without seeing the anticipated return on your investment. If you are considering a new device, now is a perfect time to stop and ask yourself a few critical questions. So let me put this a little bit into perspective for you. Some of you know I came from the world of selling lasers. And when I was a device sales rep and a manager in the aesthetic industry, I really just thought I knew it all. I was hitting or exceeding my sales targets, winning awards, getting my Rolex, all the things, getting promoted. The question for my physician clients was not if they needed my company's technology to grow their business, obvi, but which one of the devices that I offer was the best fit for them. That's really the approach that I took. And listen, I really did believe in the technology I was selling. I don't think I was successful because I didn't. I really did try my best to help be a solution provider. And I know for those of you reps who are listening, you're in that same boat, right? But what I realized is the question changed a little bit for me when I sat on the other side of the table as the managing partner of a plastic surgery practice. It then became time to invest our money as a profit share partner. That was really important to me, that we were investing in a way that was absolutely going to make a return on our investment and make us money in the end. And so going through this process, I quickly realized that the technology itself was really only a part of the success equation. And so I want to share that experience with you by first understanding really the patient outcome objectives. There are a handful of technology options to plug in. So every reputable company has something of quality. I'm not saying every company, every reputable company does. From least to most expensive and even certified pre-owned or third-party refurbished, they all will generally do the job. There's a spectrum there. I don't want to get hate mail, but in general, you can find something that's going to work for your practice for the right price, the right value. That's the right fit. So let's take this beyond really the system specifications. Now, my new question was, how would this procedure that this actual service or offer would provide to my patients fit into the bigger picture of my business goals? And to that question, I had to really dip into my 5 why exercise, moving from salad to technology, which led me to asking myself these 5 questions. Number 1, how many potential patient candidates do we have for this treatment? Number 2, how are we planning to launch and sell this procedure? Number 3, which company has the most aligned post-sale support program? I'll dig into that in a minute. Number 4, what is the feedback of business results from practices in the same stage of practice growth life cycle? So when I'm talking about, I want to get a referral from someone, I want to talk to somebody who is at the same stage and growth life cycle as me, and I want to talk about their business results. And then number 5, if there's a consumable, how will the added expense actually impact my bottom line? So today I want to dig a bit deeper into these 5 questions in hopes of guiding you as you begin to make an informed decision about the next investment for your practice. So the first question I asked myself was, how many potential patient candidates do we have for this treatment? And so what we did was really take a survey of our existing active patients to find out how many of them are actually interested in paying for this procedure. If you're running a booming skincare clinic, don't assume all of your patients are all going to automatically come to you for body contouring. Make sure you have an idea of actual patient demand and be able to create an ROI strategy that is accurate for patient demand and your practice's ability to close new patient leads. So this happens by having these conversations with patients as they're coming in for treatments. This happens with doing patient intake forms and actually reading and taking inventory of the things that they're asking for. This comes from actually surveying your patients. So this is really digging deep inside internally and finding out what is there an actual demand for. Sort of a pet peeve of mine when someone's like, okay, just paid $150,000 for this thing. And now, Kaylee, I need to go advertise and put out Facebook ads to try to get people to buy it. That's a backward strategy, people. First, we generate the demand, then we make the investment once we have demand. All right, number 2, how are we planning to launch and sell this procedure? Most device reps, depending on who you buy your stuff from, will help you out with an event. And I think that's awesome. And 100% embrace that support. I mean, reps can be make or break for you. So absolutely take advantage of that. But I would certainly ask yourself this question. What is your current history of success with events? Do you set goals for these and bring in the patient numbers that are needed to achieve your goals, right? The device company will help you close leads, but if you're not able to bring patients into the door for the events, there isn't much they can do. And so perhaps a percentage of the cost of the device should be allocated toward outbound direct online marketing. Do you have a team that is able to engage patients and get them excited about the procedure? Do you have the right technician to operate the device? So for example, most women prefer to have an intimate procedure done, like a vaginal rejuvenation, right? Performed by a trusted provider with whom they already have an established level of comfort. So these are sort of things to be thinking about as we take an inventory. We know that we have patients, but like, how are we going to launch this and sell this? And do we have all of these things really buttoned up ahead of time before we're taking delivery of this thing? The next question I asked myself as I was going through this process was really, which company had the most aligned post-sale support program? And one of the big responsibilities that I had as I moved into a management role for an aesthetic medical device company in the past was to literally architect and build out their post-sale support division and that whole program there. And so a lot of the work I did was competitive analysis of the different types of devices that had a consumable sales support team. There weren't many at the time. This was a while back, but what were they doing well? What were they not doing well? And so this was an opportunity for me now as I was running my practice to really approach it from a new perspective. And was that still the case? Had the company that I had been working for in the program I had built, was that still the premium program on the market? And so the reality is most of the large device manufacturers offer post-sale support programs to help you launch a new procedure, but every practice has different needs. So what worked for one practice may not work for yours. I could say that 10 times. Evaluate the needs of your practice. If your practice is young, it may need more support with patient acquisition. If your practice is more established, it may need more support with internal staff training or social media marketing, inbound marketing, right, to nurture and engage existing patients. And so always make sure that there's a component of business and outcome measurement involved in the post-sale support program to keep your team on track, right? So we want to know what our goals are. Ultimately, what are our primary goals? Go back to the 5 whys. It's not just, trust me, I hear this all the time. Oh, I just need more advertising. That's probably not the answer. I would dig into those 5 whys. Why do you need more advertising? Do you need more patients? Do you need to raise your prices? Do you need higher ticket sales? Are you looking for more revenue? Are you profitable? There's a lot more that you want to dig into about sort of your bigger why. So even though we're drilling down to the little why, that is ultimately the main why. Question number 4 then was, what's the feedback of clinical outcomes and revenue metrics from practices in a same specialty age and size, I would say? So a practice that's a similar makeup of mine. So one thing I learned is coming from the device manufacturer side is that many of us, this was me too, we will be more than willing to provide physician referrals. In fact, we'll encourage it. And typically we're going to offer references of practices that have the same offering or specialty who can showcase a portfolio of outstanding clinical outcomes with the device. And this is an important and valuable part of the buying process. However, do not forget to speak with a practice regarding their numbers. Are they on target with what was promised? How quickly did they achieve a payoff on their investment? Be sure to speak with a practice that feels very similar to yours. And if you have a budding new practice, your experience will likely be dramatically different than a more established practice. So make sure you're comparing apples to apples. I'll also mention that while your rep is probably going to do their absolute best to help illustrate and showcase and align you with somebody who's had success, they're certainly going to connect you with somebody who, let me put it this way, they're not going to connect you with somebody who's not happy. So I would be sure you ask the right questions when you're connecting with a reference. And then question number 5, if there is a consumable, how will that added expense actually impact my bottom line? So some devices require the use of a consumable, so an applicator, a handpiece, a USB card, all the different attachments and accoutrements, whatever they're calling them now these days, right? But for each treatment. And so these costs can certainly add up. But don't be just immediately turned off by this without really running your numbers first. The consumable is usually, not always, but usually supported by a practice development specialist or a technical support specialist who's commissioned by driving utilization through your practice. So if your practice needs support getting patients in the door and marketing procedures, this might be a benefit for you. So you may want to work with a consultant or put together your own ROI calculator to know for sure if this investment you're making is the best value for your practice versus just simply grinding down the upfront cost of the device. if you are an established practice and you know the drill and you've bought these before, then maybe that's the way to go. But as an insider tip, when companies lose margins on the sale, they're actually first going to cut out the value adds like marketing support, et cetera, the things that are going to bring more value for you that will help you make more money in the long run. So it's not just getting an upfront discount doesn't always mean a better deal on the back end. So make sure you're running your numbers and you've done your homework to really understand, one, what are our primary goals? Take that 5 why exercise. What's the primary goal for our practice in terms of where we see a benefit in bringing in this new technology? Do we have the patients lined up? Do we have the launch plan in place? Do we have a marketing strategy? And then when it comes to the negotiation, what is it that we ultimately want? If we're looking for a higher level relationship with the company, if you're looking to really tap into thought leadership, not just be called quote unquote KOL, what does that actually look like? And I think the more prepared you are, the more clear you are about what you want out of the partnership with that company, the better, the more likely I should say you are to get results out of this investment. So I hope this has been really helpful for you. And congratulations and good luck if you're looking at making this kind of investment. And if you're nervous, I totally understand too. If you want to kind of get some feedback from some other folks, you can jump into our Facebook group, the Tribe of Fierce Aesthetic Leaders. We have approximately 700 aesthetic practice leaders who can help give you unbiased feedback and advice about some of the successes that they've had with specific technologies or skincare products, et cetera. And you can get the clinical and the business perspective from them. And of course, we over here at KLC are always happy to help support you in any way. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and hope everybody has a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Fierce Factor. If you enjoyed the show, please make sure you subscribe so you can automatically get new shows every week. I'd also love it if you left us a review. And come join the conversation online. If you're an aesthetic industry owner, operator, or leader, please join my free Facebook group, The Tribe of Fierce Aesthetic Leaders, a community of ambitious, purpose-driven professionals who collaborate and share best practices for growth in business and life. I'm honored you tuned in.